After recently beating and platinuming Horizon Forbidden West, the most bullshit trophy for me in this game is by far the All Machine Type Scan trophy, which requires you to encounter and focus scan every machine type at least once. So you can tell this is a collectible type trophy, and if you've been watching these videos for a long time now, you'll know I hate these trophy types. So in order to do the focus scan, you simply push in the analog stick to turn the focus mode on, and then you hover over a machine to scan it, which then reveals its weak points, as well as adding it to the machine's catalogue sort of thing in your notebook. In total, there are 43 machine types that you will need to scan, with a lot of them coming naturally as you play the story missions and explore the open world. A good tip though is to just scan, and scan. Whenever you see some enemies, just scan them first, because otherwise you might run into problems later on. So, what exactly makes this trophy bullshit? Well, for me, one of the things that make it quite annoying is that deaths reset the scans. So this is a problem you might not have noticed right away when going for this trophy, because whenever you scan an enemy, say maybe just before you go and fight them, if you were to then die in that battle, when you reload the checkpoint, the scan will not have counted. So if you then go on to kill that machine, you would have missed that opportunity to scan them if you didn't do it again beforehand. Now, admittedly, there are loads of machines everywhere, and they do respawn in areas where you kill them in the open world, so it's not a big deal for the most part. However, it's still annoying that it resets them, and it is important to be aware of this, as you'll see later on in the video. Another issue you'll have is the scans themselves, as it just becomes really repetitive when going for this trophy. So even though it's generally useful to scan all the enemies before fighting them, as it reveals their weak points and potentially makes the fight easier, you will start to grow tired of it quite quickly. It's really annoying when you enter a new area and you start scanning machines, only to find they're just ones you've already scanned countless times. Another annoyance is the variants for each machine. You see, it's not just straight up 43 machines that are out in the open world, because each machine will have multiple variants, such as ice, frost, and acid variants of those machines, and then on top of that, there are also the stronger Apex versions of the machines that only come out at night. And it can be really annoying watching the scan as it says unknown machine, only to then, once the bar fills up, you just see a name of a machine that you've already scanned, but this time it's the frost version, so it won't actually count for the trophy. Now, thankfully, you don't need all the variants scanned for this trophy, otherwise this would have been just 100% bullshit to the extreme, so at least they showed some mercy here. However, they do fuck it up by breaking a golden rule of collectible trophies, in my opinion, because they have missable machines. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, why do devs insist on doing these bullshit things in games? I have a load of collectible trophies, but have like one or two of the fucking things missable, so if you don't pick them up as you're going through the game, you got no way of going back and getting them other than starting a brand new game, and who wants to do that? Oh, it's just absolutely bullshit, and unfortunately Horizon Forbidden West falls into that collectible trap with this machine trophy, as there are a few that are missable. So in total, I have counted around 3 that are missable, sort of semi-missable machines that you need to be aware of, and the first of those is the Specter Enemy. So this machine only appears in one of the missions in the main story, Pharaoh's Tale mission, which is the one where you get into the boat and you venture into a new area for the first time. Eventually you'll head into this tower building and you'll encounter 2 of these enemies in a cutscene, which then leads to a mini boss fight, so make sure you scan them here. In my playthrough, I only ever encountered the enemy at this point in the game, as I didn't see it again throughout the story missions or when exploring the open world, and admittedly I platinumed this game with 60% of the game complete, so you may be able to face off against them in one of the arenas that I didn't complete, but I would still ensure that you get it here in the Pharaoh's Tale mission, just to be safe. So if you see this trophy pop and you haven't got that one, you might want to consider reloading a save if possible. So another semi-missable one is the Specter Enemy. However, unlike the Corruptor, you do get a few chances throughout the game to scan this one. The first was during a story mission, and I think it was one of the first cauldron missions that you do where you go into like this facility. And it's one where as you're doing something in there, some enemies come in and attack you, and you're sort of trying to escape as these are all hunting you down. And there's a bit where you're sort of swimming through the water to escape, where you can come up to the surface and you can actually scan them as they are on the platforms above. Looking for you. Just be aware they might end up shooting you as you try and scan them, but you can get them there. If you do miss it in that mission though, you still get another chance, as you will see loads of these enemy types in the final mission of the campaign, so you should be able to get that one at least during Singularity, the final mission. However, by far the worst, and the one you definitely don't want to miss unless you want to kiss your chances of getting this trophy goodbye, is the Spectre Prime machine, which, spoiler alert, is the final boss of the game. So it's therefore a highly missable scan, as it only appears, quite rightly, in the last mission, Singularity. So you only get one fight to scan this boss, and like we mentioned earlier, if you die at any point during this fight, you will need to rescan them again, otherwise you'll miss it. And as it's the final boss, it may take you a couple of times before you can beat it, and you might get frustrated at that point and then accidentally forget to scan it. So one of the worst things about this is that after beating the game, you are actually dumped back into the open world. However, this mission, Singularity, is marked as completed, which is really bullshit, because in the first Horizon Zero Dawn game, it would always put you back just before you started that final mission, allowing you to replay it as much as you like, while still getting everything else mocked up in the open world. Yet, in the sequel Forbidden West, with a missable trophy like this one, the devs decide to change what was perfectly fine before to now do it like this, where you can never replay the mission once you've beat it on that save, and just fuck the player over? What gives there? What the fuck, Gorilla? Jesus. So yeah, it's very important that you get the scan here and don't miss it, otherwise you may have to do another playthrough just to get that scan, but hopefully you've been making multiple save files as you go through the game, so you'll just hopefully have one that's not too far back that you could just reload and replay if you've missed it. Still, you shouldn't be expected by the game developer to make backup saves like this in order to prevent you from missing out on a trophy. It's just bullshit. There should always be an opportunity to get them. Like, I should be able to just replay this mission, the final mission of the game, like I could in the first Horizon. And it just seems stupid to me that they've changed it and added in this missable trophy with these scans. It's just annoying. Why would you do that? Why would you have a collectible trophy set in the game where a handful, and only 3 out of the, 43 of the machines are sort of missable? Why would you do that? Why not just have them not count, or even just make them so they're not missable so you can replay those missions that they're in? It just seems stupid. And to end it on another negative point for this trophy is that sometimes it can be really fucking awkward to try and scan an enemy, especially some of those flying ones when they're just flying just out of reach of the scan, and you just end up just chasing them down like the villain from the Scooby-Doo cartoon or Benny Hill or something, chasing down the machine to try and get within its reach so you can scan the fucking thing. But yeah, this was just a really annoying thing to have to always be aware of when I was playing through the game. I was always making sure that whenever I saw an enemy, I would scan it. And yes, it does help because you know weaknesses, but after a while, because you're fighting the same machines over and over again, you don't really need to scan it anyway, because you know what works on them and how to beat them. So it just become a bit of a chore having to just scan everything and make sure I got it, and if I died, make sure I scanned it again, and having to keep an eye on the tarot's tomb mission, or Pharaoh's tomb rather, and making sure I didn't miss the corruptor there, and then remembering on the final boss to get the scan there as well. And it was just annoying. It was a trophy that was just a nuisance, and it was in the way of what was otherwise a fairly simple and straightforward platinum journey. I mean, the only other one that annoyed me was the cauldron one, because those missions, my god, those cauldron missions, I don't know about you, but they were just absolutely fucking tedious. Everything would break and you'd have to go the long way round for everything. It was just fucking annoying. But anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the machine scans. And yeah, this one was just, it was just frustrating to have to constantly scan everything and make sure I didn't miss those missable ones. And for me, that just is bullshit anyway. You don't put missable ones in when you're doing the collectibles, because you've got to collect loads as it is, and you don't want to be fucked over by the dev putting in a few that you can only have 1 or 2 opportunities throughout your playthrough to get. Because for me, that's just bullshit. And that's why the all-machine type scan trophy, whatever the fuck it's called, gets a bullshit trophy rating of.
Alright, here we go. Let's go!
Shit.
Shit!